In today's video, I'm going to be using some Dollar General items that I'm going to be using kind of as our blanks and base for our DIYs and exploring what items are still a good price at Dollar Tree when it comes to crafting. Is it worth it with the price hikes? I'm going to let you know my opinion. So for this first piece, forgive me, this is not actually Dollar General. I thought it was. And then I flipped it over and it has a Target sticker, but I don't really shop at Target, so I'm thinking I got it at a thrift store or a rummage sale. Either way, I've had it for a long time. I am going to apply a rub-on transfer to the bottom portion. I do love this piece because there's little tabs in the back, and so it'd be very easy to take out this metal portion of this little washboard, but I didn't need to for this. And I am using a transfer that somebody sent to me. Dollar Tree has had some really nice ones. I know they're kind of hit or miss depending on your location, but they do have some nice ones, and there's some great deals online as well. Kristen K, she shares them all the time from ones she got from Amazon. But regardless of where you got your rub-on transfers, I did want to show you just what I'm doing here as far as the texture of this metal piece. It's, got the like waves in it that a washboard has. And so I'm just holding it firmly with one hand so that it doesn't shift at all. And I'm using a popsicle stick to go across it to just make sure it gets down in each of the waves. It's kind of hard to see, there's like reflection here and all of that, but I'm just taking my time. It wasn't hard to do, but you do want to make sure you hold it still so that you don't, it doesn't shift on you. Rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree, which I will be sharing some in just a minute, I do think are still a good deal if you can find them at your Dollar Tree. Now, I haven't been in a couple of days and I don't know, prices, what they're all landing at, but some of those items are still $1.25. Even if they go up to $1.75, I think it really depends. If you're needing some bigger rub-on transfers or something different than what they have, then yeah, you can get some great deals online from Amazon, IOD. There's a couple other brands that are leaving me at the moment. I think Dixie Belle is one. And so it's going to depend, but if you're just looking for a small piece for a project, I still think Dollar Tree is not bad when it comes to those kinds of items. But I'm using one that I had on hand that somebody gave me, so that's what I'm sharing with you here. I also think that thrift stores are a great place, which, like I said, I think is where I got this washboard a while back. Great place to find items to craft with. Now, I was debating on putting some words here. This larger white one came in a pack from Hobby Lobby. This smaller wood one came in a pack from Dollar Tree. Something else great to find, or great to pick up if you can find it. And then I also had these resin pieces that a friend sent to me that she had poured for me. And I ended up deciding to do that instead of words. So I decided on the smaller one just because I thought that it looked, I like the way it looked there. And I'm just mixing up some acrylic paint using a couple different yellows to try to get a shade that coordinates well with the flower transfer that I used. And then I'm going to use a stencil brush and really get in all of the details and grooves of this piece. Now, that also does mean that it takes a bit to dry. I used my heat gun and then also just gave it a rest and let it get fully dry before I did anything else. But the stencil brush will help you get into all of those grooves. Another thing that comes into play when deciding if Dollar Tree is still worth it for crafters, I think it's also going to depend how easily accessible other places are for you. I find great deals at Hobby Lobby between sales and clearance items. Dollar General, I also find so many really good pieces. So it might depend on your situation. Once my piece was fully dry, I mixed in some white paint with some clear wax by Waverly. And I've done this before, but I think because the base color was in an acrylic paint, when I did the wiping it on and brushing it on and wiping it off, I did end up peeling off just a little bit of yellow paint, but I just went back in and touched it up. You can't even tell in the end. So I think it would have been better if I had used chalk paint or if I had just sealed the acrylic paint in fully and then maybe did the white paint. But I have dyed the clear wax before and have had great success. We're just going to apply this to the top part with just a little bit of hot glue. And that is it for this piece. Nothing complicated, but I thought it was fun, bright. I love the neutral aspects while still adding in just a little bit of a brighter color with the yellow to add little pops of color into the decor. But farmhouse and neutrals are still my personal favorite, but I'm not afraid of color from time to time. All right, so this piece, I honestly don't remember, but it is either from Dollar General or from Hobby Lobby. If I bought it from Dollar General, it was $1 or less if I bought it marked down. And a Hobby Lobby, I would have bought it on clearance, and I always pay no more than $1 is kind of my rule of thumb, because you can find lots of these types of shelf sitter decor pieces from Dollar General for $1 or less because they run really great sales. I've recently picked up several items. They were buy one, get one free, so they were basically 50 cents each. Anyway, this was previously stained at some point, but I had sanded it down, so I'm just going to kind of re-stain it. I'm just using a baby wipe and some antique wax. And then once that was dry, I'm going over with a chippy brush, which is from Dollar Tree. I do think that that may still be a good price for some of those items at Dollar Tree. Some of their brushes, maybe not. Some of their detail brushes, I think you can get really good deals at Walmart for like a larger pack. But the chippy brush is great. And I think it comes in a 2-pack from Dollar Tree. And I'm not sure what that current price is on those, but to me, that's still a really good price. I know it didn't go up to like $5 or anything. Anyway, I put a heavy coat of paint. I just did it lighter and then built on it because I didn't know how much I wanted to, how much white I wanted it to have. So this DIY is going to take a turn, and I'm going to end up not using the end game with these. The end piece is not going to have the stamps, but I did want to show you these because I don't think this is a bad price. So this little clear block with the lines is a stamping block that I got from Dollar Tree. I was so excited to find the one with a grid because they did not have that the first time that I picked one up. And then the ink pad is from Dollar Tree, which most of the time is good enough. I will say it wasn't really strong enough for this project. These little stamp letters, also pretty good deal from Dollar Tree, even at $1.25, which is, I recently picked up a larger stamp pack like with larger letters, and they were just $1.25. I don't know if it's changed since then. It's hard to keep up because the prices change frequently as of lately, unfortunately, but it wasn't that long ago that I picked them up. And they're small, and so therefore it's a little bit harder to use. I just want to show you here. It was not standing out enough with the wax underneath, so I sanded it and I'm repainting it with white, and we're going to switch to rub-on transfers. But I do think those stamps, the little itty bitty ones, yeah, they're a little bit hard to handle with your fingers. But I do think that it is still worth it if you're just kind of dipping your toes into stamps, which I am. Now these rub-on transfers, I'm not sure where they were from. A friend gave them to me, and I decided to give them a try. I was originally going to put "In your presence is fullness of joy," a scripture from the Bible. But when I moved to these transfers, I was like, I don't want to do as much. I didn't want to do a phrase. So I just cut out the pieces to do the word faith. And they actually really transferred really well. So check out the brand there, zoom in on that, and go ahead and look them up online. There's some things about them that are a little bit finicky, but I really thought they transferred well. And the only problem I had was somehow on a couple of them, as I was cutting them out, I must have dropped them. And when I went to apply them, I applied them like upside down. And so then that, of course, doesn't work. So when I started to rub the transfer, you can see I just scraped the whole thing off. Thankfully, I had enough backups to still finish my word, or I would have just been sanding and painting all over again. But it's okay. That is sometimes what happens when we craft. Now, I did have a few scraps of these rub-on transfers in my stash from the Dollar Tree. And so I thought I would cut out a couple of these leaves and put them at the bottom. The way that they were lined up on the sheet, they were too far apart and they wouldn't have fit. So I decided to just cut them in two so I could put them closer together. I do find that these transfers transfer very well. Now this one, you can see there's some parts missing on the leaves. Probably when I had them just stored away, something had slipped in between the top sheet and the bottom sheet and pulled some of that leaf off. But I thought I can just fill that in with a Sharpie with a fine tip. And that's exactly what I did, and you can't even tell in the end at all. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up. It's a super easy way to help out my channel. Also, leave me an emoji down below or a comment. I say that in case some people are like, I don't really know what to say. Even an emoji lets me know that you're here, encourages me, and it lets YouTube know, hey, people are liking this video, they're interacting, we'll show this to somebody else. I decided to end this with just a little twine bow at the top. and I should say ended. I finished this off, and then I sanded off some paint that had gone over to the side. That is all for this one. I really love the overall look of this. It'll be a great for a tiered tray or for just a little shelf sitter. I like to have some things with words, but I also try to do a lot of things without words because I know people say words are out. I don't really care what's in or out, but it is hard to style if there's too many words. This cute little farm animal is from the Dollar General for $1, and I paid that or less. You can kind of see some letters there because I had previously put some stickers on it. And then I just, I like to change up my decor. I do a lot of DIYs and kind of goes hand in hand. You get bored with your decor, you just redo it on a budget. And yeah, so we're going to go over with that chippy brush and give it a decent coat of white paint. These are more stamps from the Dollar Tree at $1.25, or maybe even if they've gone up at all to $1.50, but I don't think a lot of the craft supplies are going up past $1.25, but don't quote me on that. I do think that some of them is a really good price. Now, if you're needing big ones, larger ones, more detailed ones, or things like that, yeah, you're going to probably shop outside of the Dollar Tree, but I don't think that's a very bad price for it. And honestly, I haven't seen this kind of thing at Dollar General, so Dollar Tree is still where I would go for these. And I'm just going to stamp some of these leaves all over the place, but you maybe have realized or recently seen me do a cow and a chicken because I bought all three from Dollar General. And so I've done similar things. I've also done paint inlays. I've done things with the words on them, oink, moo, cluck, that kind of a thing. But I just really like this look. It's a subtle look. So the stamp or the ink pad from the Dollar Tree really, really works well for this because it is a little bit softer. But I am going for that look for this. I may experiment with some ink pads from Hobby Lobby with my Dollar Tree stamps just in case I sometimes need something that is a little bit more vibrant. But for now and for this piece, that worked. And that was all I did for this one. Just gave it a coat of paint and some stamps. And so for $1 or less from Dollar General, I feel like Dollar General is a great place to find your bases, your base pieces for your DIYs. Even thrift stores these days, some of them are more expensive than the Dollar Tree. So Dollar General or rummage sales would be my go-to for those blanks, or Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby clearance is fantastic. This little house is from Dollar General, and it was originally $1. This was one of those pieces that I got at a buy one, get one 50% off. Buy one, get one free. So I paid 50 cents for it. So this is what I'm saying, even at $1, it's going to be cheaper than Dollar Tree. And you may have seen me recently redo one of these in another video. I bought a few of them. I was like, for 50 cents, or like I said, original price of $1, you really can't beat that. I do find good deals at Hobby Lobby clearance, but for a smaller piece like this, I probably wouldn't have found it for under $1. So I just grabbed quite a few while I was there. And we're just going to sand off the center piece. And I like this little rustic look, so I'm leaving that, but you can of course paint that or put on some scrapbook paper as well. And I decided to paint the perimeter of this house, and I just used a small brush. You don't have to do anything fancy. These are brushes that I did pick up from Walmart. I don't remember the brand or anything, but having a small paintbrush, some fine tip paintbrushes, it was just a few dollars for a few different paintbrushes. Highly recommend that. I have used paintbrushes from the Dollar Tree, and in some instances, the bigger ones, they're great, no complaints. But I do think that spending a few dollars at Walmart or maybe even Hobby Lobby, I don't know, I'm just speaking from experience, that it makes a big difference when you don't have, this little detailed work. It's nothing fancy, it's nothing difficult, but it's so much easier when you just have a small, good paintbrush. And the paint on this was drying so quickly that I was able to just kind of keep going, go back around and do a second or third coat. I probably could have sanded down that color and that would have made it go, take less coats of paint, but I didn't, so it wasn't a big deal. It dried kind of as I went, and then I just went back and touched it up until I had that full coverage. If you're new here, my name is Leanne, and I enjoy sharing budget-friendly DIYs with you. So it doesn't matter where I get them from, although I do have a lot of Dollar Tree and Dollar General videos. I like to do crafting on a budget. Easy crafts, you don't have to be a professional, things that anybody can do with tools that anybody can use. That is what I share here on this channel. So if you are into that, please consider subscribing to my channel.
before you leave. And make sure you turn on your notification bell, whether you're just subscribing now or you're already subscribed. Please make sure your notification bell is turned on. That helps me out, and it does help YouTube know, hey, I do want to see this person's videos. And also, if you're missing people's videos, make sure to click your subscription feed on YouTube versus your home page, because you may not always see people you're subscribed to on your homepage. All right, that's the end of my public service announcement. This leaf garland is something we're going to make a small wreath for to add to this house. And I picked this up from Hobby Lobby. I actually think it was in the Christmas stuff. Totally not Christmassy at all, in my opinion. Not that you couldn't use it for Christmas. But also, when it comes to Hobby Lobby, I would look through the whole store. There are things in like the wedding section. I think you can find it there as well. Anyway, I made a little wreath and they're wired, so I just twisted it on itself. And then this white berry garland, I did pick it up from the Dollar Tree. Hobby Lobby has some too, and I think it depends on how much you need, where is better to buy. Hobby Lobby does have larger rolls of it, and I just wrapped that around to give that little touch of white. I thought that looked nice, especially with the white trim on the house, and hot glue that on. Super simple. Also, really easy to take off if I want to redo it again, but I love this one, so maybe I won't.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new, and make sure you turn on your notification bell so that YouTube will let you know when I post another video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.